Now, this is the game that I'm the most excited for. We got Tennessee versus Missouri. This is pretty much the game that's going to decide if Tennessee's game against Georgia becomes the SEC East Championship game, depending on how that Ole Miss Georgia game ends. If Georgia loses to Ole Miss and Tennessee beats Missouri, then Tennessee potentially could be playing Georgia for a trip to go to Atlanta. But they're going to have to beat a really good Missouri team, and they're only a 1-point favorite in this game. This game pretty much is a pick 'em, and these two teams are really evenly matched. Missouri, they had a pretty good fight against Georgia, but they just didn't have enough. Their defensive line is really good. Their defensive line was really getting after Carson Beck. They also have a pretty balanced offense. They're pretty solid throwing the football. They also can run the football pretty well also. But the thing is that I don't know how good the quarterback play is going to be for Missouri in this game. Brady Cook, he started this season out really strong. He looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, but over the last couple of weeks, he hasn't looked so hot. You look at Joe Milton on the other end, this was somebody who people had pretty high expectations for. And I'm not going to say that Joe Milton has been a disappointment because he hasn't been bad. It's just that you kind of expect a little bit better. This isn't the same Tennessee offense that we saw in 2022, that's for sure. They haven't really been able to generate the amount of big plays at will that they were able to do last season. And Joe Milton at times can be a little shaky as a passer. Now, he's been really involved over the last couple of weeks in the run game. They've been running him a good bit. Quarterback power, design quarterback runs. And Tennessee has a really good rushing attack. And what people kind of overlook about Tennessee is how physical this team is. You see, when you think of Tennessee football, you probably think air raid. They want to space you out. They want to throw the football all over the field on you. But they got the 4th best rushing attack in college football, which is really surprising. They got a really good group of running backs. They also have Joe Milton, who's a really good athlete in his own right. So this rushing attack is going to be really key for Missouri being able to come away with this win, because if Missouri can't slow down Tennessee's ground game, I think that Tennessee probably wins this game. Missouri's defense is solid, but I don't know if their defense is going to be able to hang around if Tennessee's able to play bully ball. Tennessee also has a good amount of talent at receiver. Missouri, their secondary is solid, but I don't know if they're equipped to be able to hang around if Tennessee wants to try to take a couple of shots downfield, if they can get that run game going. If Tennessee gets the run game going, it opens up so much for this offense. Play action. There's just so much they can do if they get the run game going, which is why it's pivotal that Missouri can slow down this rushing attack. And Missouri's rushing defense isn't that bad. They're kind of in the middle of the pack. They're 34th in college football in rushing yards per game allowed. I think what this game is going to come down to is which team is going to be able to have a better night getting after the quarterback. Tennessee has a really good pass rush, and so does Missouri. Which quarterback is going to have the better performance? Is it going to be Brady Cook, or is it going to be Tennessee with Joe Milton? You see, Brady Cook, he's a really good athlete. He's a really sneaky runner. He knows how to pick his spots, and he does do a pretty good job at extending plays at times, but as a passer, he can be hit or miss. So what Brady Cook are you going to get? Are you going to get the Brady Cook that you saw during the first half of this season, or are you going to get the Brady Cook that we've seen over the last couple of weeks? I don't think Tennessee's secondary is that great. It's not bad. It's definitely better than what it was last year, drastically better than what it was last year, but with the wide receivers that Missouri has, Luther Burden, he right now is listed as questionable on the injury report. Even if he doesn't play in this game, they still do have a good amount of talent and depth at wide receiver. Now, losing Luther Burden for this game, if he does get ruled out, is going to be a significant loss because he's one of the best players in college football. But I think Missouri can find a way to overcompensate for that loss. They got depth and talent at wide receiver. They have the ability to run the football. These are two teams that are extremely balanced and extremely similar. I feel that Missouri is going to walk away with the win because they're playing at home. I also think that they just are a slightly better team all around than what Tennessee is. You see Missouri, I really like their defensive front. I like Tennessee's defensive front also, but Joe Milton, at times, this offense has been a little bit too dependent on trying to get big plays when the run game isn't there. I think Missouri is just an all-around better, more complete team than Tennessee. They're a balanced team. They can do both. At times, Joe Milton can be hit or miss when he tries to throw the football downfield. Brady Cook, I think, is a better runner than what Joe Milton is. And I know Tennessee fans are going to get upset with this, but Missouri, this just is one of those years where I think they're in for a really big season. And I think that right now, they're the better team than what Tennessee is, even though the gap isn't that big. They got a really good pass rush. They were able to challenge and hang with Georgia. It wasn't a blowout. Georgia still won in the end by 9, but if Missouri has a little bit more success in the red zone, I think they're able to come away with a potential upset. And it's not like Missouri never had a chance in that game. Like, anytime you can really challenge Georgia up front, you got a really good front seven on defense. And I think Missouri's defense is better than Tennessee's, and that's why I'm going to take them to win this game. You see, Tennessee, with how good their rushing attack is, if they can get that going, then I like their chances to win. But I feel pretty confident about Missouri's ability to slow down the run game and force this to become a game where Joe Milton has to drop back and win with his arm, which, at times he has the ability to do, but he hasn't been super consistent with it. Give me Missouri with the win. 27-24 is my final score prediction in this game.